will be
I'm
amazing.
No giggling.
All right, it's all you.
Hi, I'm J.A. Martin. I've been an erotic author for about 5 years, and I started on Amazon, on KDP, like a lot of other authors. I actually started writing erotica because I didn't know how to write love scenes, and that bothered me. I also, back in the day, used to read the Penthouse letters, Penthouse Forum. So that's pretty much how I got the idea for the style that I wanted to use. I bill myself as mostly sexual fantasy erotica, although I've gotten into a few other genres and subgenres since then. I like to kind of keep it, I don't really write just one specific set of subgenres. Like I like boss fetish, I like spanking, I like, brat. I kind of identify as a brat, not a disrespectful brat, but like a teehee, cheeky, playful brat, and that tends to come out in my writing. Um, I was going to do a reading, but I think I'm just going to do a Q&A. I grew up in Chicago and went to a liberal arts college called Columbia College of Chicago and took creative writing classes there for 2 years. And I'm really more comfortable writing short stories rather than full-length books. So Medium has been kind of a godsend for me. I mean, it's been really challenging to kind of keep in mind the algorithm changes and all the other changes they've had on Medium. But I've been a lot happier on Medium than I ever was on Amazon. And so most of my stuff, I would say, on Medium is between like 1,500 and 3,000 words, although I have taken some of the stories that were dungeoned in Amazon and put them on Medium and got a much better response. Apparently, Amazon has this habit of, if you have a lot of explicit words or content or a lot of explicit sex scenes, they'll dungeon you and you'll end up in like 10,945th rank, behind, a lot of other titles. So it's been really challenging for me as a self-published indie author, having to figure everything out for myself. I enjoy it. I try to write the things that I'm experienced in. I try to write the things that I like to do personally. I wouldn't say that there's any people in real life that have made it into my stories exactly, but I'll take like a fictional representation of somebody I know in real life and I'll kind of let them know, hey, this is kind of you, but it's not really you. So that nobody gets upset with me. And I'm going to open it up to questions because I've never done this before, if that's okay. So you guys can just unmute yourselves and ask if you want to.
How long have you been writing?
Well, I've been writing erotica for 5 years. I've been writing fiction since 1990.
Oh, wow.
But not publishing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your genre before when you were writing the fiction?
I was trying to be a crime novelist. I do have one crime novel out, which actually doesn't have any sex in it, under another name, which it took me 7 years to write and publish. That's on Amazon. It's called Stolen. And it's based on, kind of loosely based on nightmares that I had from almost having been kidnapped when I was 11. Kids in the 80s, early 80s specifically, this is actually pretty common. I've actually met several other people who had near misses. I almost got grabbed on my way home from detention when I was in the 5th grade. and I ran for it and I managed to get away, but there's a lot of other kids that didn't. And the nightmares that I had led to kind of this macabre, dark, wondering what would have happened to me had I not gotten away. And that's what the book turned into.
Oh, wow, that sounds interesting. Did you publish it?
I did. It's called Stolen. By
Nice.
K.A. My safe for work name is K.A. Woodford. I'm probably gonna do other crime novels too. It's just that was so dark that I
Yeah.
really needed to take a break and kind of go back to my, teehee, cheeky, playful J.A. Martin persona, because also being on the serious side of Twitter is not nearly as much fun, and I had to
No.
behave. I had to behave, and I couldn't put you know, snarky responses on sex toy ads and stuff like that. I couldn't do all the stuff that I really enjoy doing on Twitter when I interact with you guys. And
Right.
I was bored. I was
Yeah.
really, really bored. And it was like, then I came back to JA and I'm like, yay, this is awesome.
That's great. Hold on. Cough.
Hi, sorry. I think I had a question for you, if you don't mind.
Okay.
How do you write dark stories and keep them sexy? So,
Okay, so I really only had one, and I had put that in your publication, Degrees of Truth, where it was like a hybrid erotic thriller, where it started out serious and then it went to the main character just kind of hopping in the bed with what she felt was her hero of the day, and then them going back and forth between trying to figure out what was going on and like deepening their connection. And he was kind of the one thing that grounded her and kept her from going crazy during that situation, in addition to her attraction to him, even though she didn't know him at all and she was just kind of throwing herself further into the situation. So it was a balance of the danger, the mystery, and her basically throwing herself into bed with him because she felt like he could protect her.
yeah. Do you find it hard to stay in one genre or the other? Like if you start writing a mystery story and then you just got bent and you're ready to start talking about sex now? I mean,
Um,
how do you
I
map that out, I guess you'd say?
I don't.
I know you're a
I'm
pantser.
I'm a pantser, and when I start writing something, I kind of, with the characters that I have, and once I kind of feel out what their personalities are going to be like, then I just kind of like it goes where it feels like the characters want it to go. And if I try to force it to go in a different direction, I end up with writer's block until I erase what I had and let it go where I think they want it to go, in a weird way.
Yeah.
But no, I don't plan this stuff out. I don't really outline. I did for Stolen because I really kind of had to. Because it was like 300 pages and there was flash forwards and flashbacks. So there's dueling timelines between something that happened in Chicago like 10, 15 years ago and what was going on in Florida now. And then eventually the timelines streamline into the present. But I had to outline for that. Otherwise, there's no way I would have been able to keep up with everything that I was doing. It was a madly ambitious project for my first book,
Right.
which is why it took me so long to finish it, I think.
I have a
Thanks for
question.
that.
Yes.
Okay. What is your favorite setting to write in? Like, do you like small towns, cities, beach towns? Do you have a favorite, or do you just like to mix it up?
The Office, because one of my favorite things in the entire world is boss fetish. So I like the whole like woman who works for the boss, like teasing him, eyeing him, ogling him, giving him weird little snarky comments to see what he does with them, getting caught checking him out. I mean, obviously not in an obnoxious way over time, but then when she can see that she's wearing him down, then she'll like double down and see if she can get him to make a move. You know.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and but I enjoy kind of playing out the cat and mouse aspect of it. Like, I mean, if we think of some of our favorite shows where people have gotten together and it's taken a really long time for them to get together, like for me, it's Bones. You know, Celie Booth and Temperance Brennan. The whole will they, won't they thing, and they played that will they, won't they for like almost 6 straight seasons before they finally did. So I like the cat and mouse. I like the, trying to see who thinks they have the upper hand, and then, teehee.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions?
I oh, I was gonna ask her if she could reconsider maybe doing a short reading. I know she was gonna and then decided not to, but
No, I will. I was just honestly, I was really nervous, but I will. Hang on 1 second. So this is something I published on Crush in one of the very first stories that I published on Crush on August 28th of last year. It's called Our Little Secret.
I remember the story.
I caught my very sexy boss, Damon, masturbating in the executive bathroom. I didn't see anything, but when I walked in his office to ask him a question, I heard the noises coming from the other side of the door. Hisses, moans, and soft groans in his husky voice tightened my pussy, knowing what he was doing. I could picture him, pants around his ankles, cock in hand, stroking along the velvet smooth skin of his warm shaft. I could do that for him. I stood on the other side of the door and listened to the telltale sounds of skin on skin, and then the unmistakable hitching of his breath as he climaxed, along with, "Oh, Dawn." It was so low that I would not have heard him had I not been standing right outside his bathroom door. I had to fight not to moan now, as the name he called out in his fruition is mine. God, it made me want him so much more. I ran out of his office, leaving his door partially open, and then pulled myself together. From the break room, I heard his bathroom door open and then his footsteps as they neared the kitchen. I trembled with desire and a little bit of shame that I had eavesdropped on his private moment. "Hi, Dawn. Did you need something?" "Oh, I was just going to ask you a question, but then noticed you were indisposed." He looked at me with knowing eyes. "What was your question?" I smiled too brightly. "Oh, I don't even remember now. I'll let you know if I remember later." I backed up into the cabinets as he moved forward, not fooled by my cop-out answer. All 6'2" of him radiated heat. From his chiseled features, gray-blue eyes, his broad shoulders, and deep chest with what I was sure was an 8-pack under the hood. I really wanted to touch him and find out. He stood less than a foot away from me now, his hands reaching out to interweave our fingers, and then his fingers swirling slow circles in the center of my palms. "What do you have to ask me, Dawn?" His soft voice in my ear as his lips lightly brushed my neck. I lost control in that moment and closed the distance between us, my mouth crashing into his, my hand snaking up into his soft brown hair. He deepened the kiss after a moment of surprise, his body now flush with mine, his throbbing cock pulsating against my core, and I moaned into his open mouth. His hands now exploring, finding my nipples through the sheer cream-colored bra, rolling and pinching as his other hand caressed up and down my inner thigh, slowly teasing me. You heard all the noises I made for you. Now I want to hear you moan for me. Oh, my pussy throbbed hearing that, and his fingers stroked me through my wet panties. You're already wet for me, but I think you've been wet since you heard me call out your name. Yes, yes, I moaned as he slid his hand beneath the fabric, and the heat of his hand now fluttered like a burning butterfly up and down my slit. His fingers moved inside me, 2 of them, as his thumb found my clit, rubbing in slow, tight circles as I trembled in his arms. I moaned against his chest, my hand snaked down to rub his bulge and then to unzip his pants, reaching in and taking hold of his long, thick cock. I wanted it in my mouth, my pussy, and my ass all at once. And as my thumb found his cockhead and rubbed across the top, he hissed, my thumb rubbing a line of pre-cum into the skin of his shaft. He pulled my panties off and then lifted me up off the floor and on my back on the table, pulling me closer to the edge where he stood, holding both of my legs apart and up in the air before he leaned down and tasted me for the first time. My legs up on his shoulders as his tongue swept up and down my slit, his hands in my hair. All I could do was moan as my boss licked the tip of my clit with the tip of his tongue, flicking it mercilessly as my body began to shake. I gripped his shoulders as my hips fucked up off the table, his tongue lapping up my juices as I came for him, my breathing ragged and shaky. And I'm gonna stop it there.
Wow,
Very
that
nice.
was really good.
Thank you.
That's great.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions?
I'm just wondering if these are like a series of sex vignettes or if there's story in between or how they function. Like, is that like how far into the book is that? Is that like page
Well,
3
that's-
or
That's not a book. That's one of the shorter stories that I have on Medium.
okay.
And you can do that's somewhere between I wouldn't call that microfiction, that's more like flash fiction. It's a little bit longer. The stuff that I published on Amazon is generally somewhere between 30 pages to about 115 pages long manuscript. And several of those I have posted to Medium. Some of them in episodes, some of them in one episode, just depending on how long they are.
Right. I may be like way out of the loop on the whole Medium thing, but I did not know about publishing on Medium.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're fine.
Well, I was just gonna say, so I learned about Medium from Logan at the end of last July. And he was getting really frustrated with Amazon and the way Amazon treats erotic authors. So he was starting to tell me that he was going to take his stuff off Amazon and start putting it on Medium. And I was like, oh, what's Medium? And then so like my introduction to Medium and everybody who publishes on Medium, including Sunny, including Ranch, was through Logan. And so when I started publishing my stuff on Medium and getting to know how the algorithm works and writing short stories through different publications, it was through Logan. Logan introduced me to Ranch and he introduced me to Sunny, and I learned about hundos, and like it's been a really good, it's been almost a year that I've been on Medium. And honestly, I've been a whole lot happier on Medium than I ever was on Amazon. And now I've learned about draft to digital. So there's there's a wide variety of different markets that I can put stuff through that, I mean, I look at this as a work in progress, like a journey, and I don't know everything, and I've never thought that I knew everything, and
Nobody knows
know.
everything.
no,
No.
Nobody
No.
in this industry knows
No.
everything. Nobody
no, and
does.
there are people
And what
here.
you know changes next week, so it doesn't like it's
Yeah.
always changing.
Well, there are a
Whether
lot of
you're on the
people with-
trad side or the NB side, there's just too much to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's one of the reasons why, I really wanted to come to the conference here today and, listen to everybody's perspectives and listen to everybody's writing journeys, because there's a lot of people here who've been writing a whole lot longer than I have. And I've learned a lot from everybody who's spoken today. It's been really
Yeah.
wonderful. Thank you.
Well, thanks for sharing that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not
Alright.
seeing your Twitter handle on your Amazon page, and the Crush profile for you goes straight to the Amazon page.
Oh, let me hear. Well, we had to take Crush off. Medium. Here, I'll put a second.
You looking for a Twitter account?
What? Why do we
Yeah.
have to take Crush off Medium?
To publish it on
What?
Amazon.
Oh, okay. I was like, what? All right, I got you.
Yeah, Twitter. I'm
Yeah,
trying
it's-
to
it's
find
just-
everybody's Twitter handles.
Hers is J. Martin 1973. I had to look for it.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
we can continue talking, but she's gonna come in a minute or so and stop the recording, but we can all keep talking. That's
Okay.
fine.